So, I just saw Cats. My reaction whilst I was watching it? Yep, once you've seen this film, you cannot unsee it. It's time for me to talk about Tom Hooper's Cats. Hey up guys, greetings from sunny Bundaberg in Australia. I'm here at my boyfriend's parents' house for Christmas festivities, and I took time out of my Christmas holiday to go watch Tom Hooper's Cats. Yeah, that was a choice I made. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Cats, Cats is a film adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's stage musical, which itself was based on a bunch of poems by T.S. Eliot. And yeah, this film is directed by Tom Hooper, who is most known for films like Les Mis and the Oscar-winning King's Speech, which he also won Best Director for. Is it possible to revoke someone's Best Director Academy Award after seeing Cats? God, this film is such an atrocity. It's a monstrosity. Like, it's amazing that it even got made. The funny thing was, there was absolutely no part of me that had any desire to go see the Cats movie, because I've seen the Cats West End show and I wasn't a fan because I know how bored I was watching the stage musical because there was no plot. And then the reviews started going in for this movie and people were just hating it, and in this weird paradoxical way, it actually made me want to go watch it, like, excitedly, because if it was as bad as people were describing, I was just like, okay, I have to go see for myself. So that's why I went to go watch it. Oh, history's gonna look back and laugh at this film so much. It's such a skid mark on the landscape of cinema. But I did enjoy watching it though, because of how awful it was. Like, it is a so bad it's good kind of film. With Cats, there isn't much plot to speak of, but essentially the story boils down to a tribe of cats who call themselves Jellicle Cats, and one of them is going to be selected to die and then be reborn as a new Jellicle Cat. And each of the cat candidates, if you will, sings a song about themselves, about their troubles, about why they should be the Jellicle choice. The film is basically one poem of each cat talking about themselves, and then one cat goes to the Heaviside Lair at the end of it. It's absolutely, I'm hearing myself say it now. It's so fucking bizarre. The plot is weird, but I had seen the stage musical, so I knew what I was letting myself in for with the movie adaptation. Now, I know it's easy to jump on the hate bandwagon because, let's face it, this is one of the most critically despised films of the last decade, but I always look for the positives because that's just who I am, and I know that Tom Hooper didn't set out to make an absolute disaster with this film, but he did make some poorly miscalculated choices, creatively speaking, when he decided to adapt this stage adaptation musical, which, quite frankly, isn't really capable of being translated into a movie. They've tried once before. I don't know why he thought he could do it, especially with the god-awful choice of using CGI to make the actors look more like cats. Ugh. But having said that, there are some positives in this film which I should address. The first of all is that there are some brilliant performances in it. There are also some terrible performances in it, but I'll get back to those. But there are some magnificent actors in this. McKellen, Judi Dench, Jennifer Hudson, Laurie Davidson, they were all fantastic. Also, the dancers in this are all exceptionally talented. There's no denying that they are all incredible at their craft. Particularly Francesca Hayward as the ballerina cat Victoria. She was hypnotic to watch. Also, Stephen McRae as the cat Shimbleshanks, I think his name. He was the tap dancing cat. That is pure talent right there. And another positive thing is that some of the cinematography I actually appreciated. Like, it was eye-grabbing for positive reasons. It was bold and unusual and definitely not what you usually see, and I did appreciate it to some level. The flip side of the argument, though, is that pretty much everything else in this movie elicits that reaction of, what the hell were they thinking? Quite frankly, this film was doomed to fail from the start because, first of all, the lack of plot in this film is a problem. How is a mainstream audience supposed to enjoy a film which is just a bunch of poems that are loosely stitched together? There's no sense of narrative. There's nothing to get invested in, really. Secondly, the fundamental problem with Cats as a film adaptation is that it doesn't necessarily transcribe from a stage show to a film. The reason it kind of works as a stage show is because you're watching actors in leotards and cat ears and tails and your brain has this theatrical filter which allows you to fill in the gaps. But Tom Hooper made the critical misjudgment of deciding to use CGI to make his actors look more cat-like. And it's a technique which is completely at odds with itself and your brain, because it's neither one nor the other. It's in limbo as this creepy demonoid cat-human hybrid, and your brain can't fill in the gaps because the CGI does it for you. And because it's such a noticeably bad, distractingly awful amalgam of cat and human, it completely takes you out of the story, which doesn't have much story to begin with in the first place. So it feels like a slog. Another thing that doesn't help is the fact that the cast is so higgledy-piggledy. Like, you've got renowned thespians like Dame Judi Dench and Sarah McKellen absolutely acting their hearts out, and then you've got stars like Rebel Wilson and James Corden who are essentially just playing themselves, and their characters are essentially the comic relief, but they're so painfully unfunny. And then you've got what feels like stunt casting with so many pop stars like Taylor Swift and Jason Derulo, although I will admit, I didn't mind Jason Derulo, I actually thought he was quite good in it. Taylor Swift, she's only here because she's a famous celeb who's known for loving cats, and they just had to have her here because her fans will come and see this movie. But they haven't, have they? Like, where was the box office numbers on opening weekend for this film? Like, no one went to go watch this. So you have this weird eclectic mix of cast who all bring their own unique energy to their roles, but there's a lack of cohesion amongst all the characters in this film. There's too much variety and not enough consistency. It's just this big jumble of clashing elements. The CGI is awful. You can be more forgiving of the lack of plot if what you're looking at is actually nice to look at, but this whole film is so ugly and it doesn't add up. Like, there's certain bits where the scale of the cats is completely off. 1 minute they're like the size of a mouse, the next they are what would appear to be a cat, and the next they're the size of a human, like walking around in human heels, and it's just like, what? The size, the ratio of everything feels off. Plus the cats are weirdly sexualized in this. This is a deceptively horny film. There's so much nuzzling, so much milk, and just, yeah, so much panting and purring. Oh, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. So I'm gonna start to sum up now. This film is a perfect catastrophe. The only reason I wanted to go watch it was because of pure morbid curiosity, and as they say, curiosity has killed the cats. This film is messy, it's visually repugnant, at times it's even unfinished, which just shows a lack of care. But despite this film being an absolute monstrosity, I was still entertained watching it. It's the type of film that I think actually could develop a cult following, like in 20 years time. It's just like this fever dream nightmare. Parts of it are so traumatizing. So it's time to ask those 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? You know what, probably. One day I'll just like drop some acid and then decide to watch Cats. Question number 2, am I gonna recommend it for you guys? No. Nothing about this film which says this is filmmaking worthy of you paying to go see, but I would say if you're curious like I am, just to see for yourself the marvel and the monstrosity that is Cats, I'd say go for it. Just scratch that itch. Go see it for yourself. Judge for yourself. It's movies like this which make you appreciate mediocre films, because, you know, there's mediocre and then there's Cats. So yeah, go see it for yourself if you want to see how horrifying it is. And question number 3, what score am I going to give out of 10? I'm going to say it's a 1 out of 10. There we go, guys. That was my review of Tom Hooper's Cats. But as always, this is just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear from you guys. Have you seen Cats? What did you make of it? Have you not seen it? Are you curious to go watch it? Do you think you might? Whatever you think, be sure to let your voices be heard in the comment section down below. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to stay up to date on my future content, don't forget to click subscribe. And for more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you guys next time. Woo!